Guys, this is Saber from the Neighborhod, coming back at you with another war recap. This one between the Neighborhod and Ojos de Sangre. I'm not sure what that means, but it looks like it's in Spanish. And the reason why I'm showing this, even though it is CWL season, is that we absolutely balled out this war, dropping 8 triples against a total of 14 enemy bases. So we were all very proud of that, and I'm just going to show them in the order that they're on the bases, not necessarily the order they occurred. So let's start with the first one by Big Al. So Big Al is kind of our P.E.K.K.A. smash specialist. It's definitely his go-to attack strategy. And so he's going to start by dropping that Coco Loon, brings up a Tesla, gets rid of some of those mines, and then he sends in the E-Drag. There's a lot of buildings here, so the chain damage does a lot of damage, as it should. And so now he's just sort of waiting for that E-Drag to make the funnel. And on the other side, he drops the Queen. Notice how he uses the Wizard to sort of cement the funnel, and that Baby Dragon ensures that the Queen goes down and to the left. Even though that mortar is here, there's nowhere for her to go after that mortar. So, actually, excuse me, the cannon, but then she's going to turn back around and head towards this gold storage. Okay, maybe not. Never mind. So this was actually a funnel fail. But he adapted, so that's even more impressive then, because I look at all of the plans in advance, but I don't necessarily watch the attack, so that explains my little mishap there. So we have an early Queen ability as well, and he adapts, he drops the other P.E.K.K.A., completes his funnel, and he's got 3 P.E.K.K.A.s down now, Warden, couple of Witches, there come the Bowlers, and everything's on a sort of funny angle, but it's still up, and it's alive, and it's headed into the base. It's not the plan he was hoping for. He usually comes from directly across the Town Hall, and then he, gives him the most leverage to get all of the defenses before he actually hits it. But in this case, he came from the short side because of that funnel fail, but he did adapt under pressure. Any second now, we should see the Warden ability with the Giga Tesla. There it is. I'm going to speed it up just a tad. And he just paths on through the base. That nice jump spell to give the P.E.K.K.A.s access to the Queen. And the Rage spell gets them access to the Inferno Tower, coming in with speed, and he's absolutely cleared out this base. Now, this is one of the awkward things about choosing an angle close to the Town Hall. They're going to have to break out of the base before they break back in here to come back around and clean up the backside. But as you can see, there's too many troops left, and there's nothing this defense can do. It's just going to be a done deal. So I'm going to speed this up to 4 times, and we're just going to watch as his troops waltz through what remains of this base, what little there is, and Big Al with the first triple of this war. On to the next attack, we have Kick Fritz TVH, which coincidentally is also Big Al, also coming at it with another P.E.K.K.A. smash attack. Very similar composition, if not the exact same composition, and we'll see what angle he chooses this time. So he's going to drop the Queen immediately, and he's going to use the Queen to try and do a little bit of funneling for herself, actually, with minimal funnel, troop space used. Drops that one Wizard to deal with that barracks, and another Wizard to deal with the other side, and you see what he's done now. He's cut off that right side mostly. There's a risk that she might target that mortar and go around, but once she locks onto that Wizard tower, it's pretty clear where she's headed. Even though she does go back and get to the mortar, it's clear that she's headed left. And so he got the lure on the CC to come out. He drops the E-Drag up there on the top left, and you can see sort of where his wall wrecker will be coming in as the funnel's slowly getting created. Deals with that clan support no problem, and continues to just work that Queen. Kills the Ice Golem. P.E.K.K.A. comes in. Again, there's nowhere for that wall wrecker to go, but straight up the gut, and the funnel's clearly made, so there's nowhere for his Bowlers to bounce to, nowhere for his Witches to walk to, and his P.E.K.K.A.s will go towards the next building. So he starts the funnel, has to drop the freeze spell slightly prematurely to save those healers, but it's a decision well warranted. And he begins to just steamroll through this base. Now, as you can see, there's a massive force of just heavy damage troops coming in there with so many spells. There's a nice alleyway that he uses in this base that he basically exploits to walk right down the center and just kill everything with bowler bounces on the way. We're going to speed it up just a little bit. When his record goes down, he thought ahead and he brought the jump spell for that final compartment. And once he gets in there, even though there is the Teslas around the Town Hall, it's no problem. He has a King that still has an ability left. He has a Queen that still has an ability left. A couple of backside loons even to take care of those pesky cannons. There's not much this base can do. It's absolutely massacred. He still hasn't popped the hero abilities. Just pops the Queen now, but that was 75% of the base being down and only 3 defenses standing with no hero abilities popped. This base was absolutely wasted, and it was just a poor design all around. On to our next attack. It's going to be down on number 9, and this is from Brown Mamba. Brown Mamba was in a little bit of a slump, so I'm glad he pulled this off. A few wars back, we faced a Champs 2 clan, and he unfortunately missed his last attack due to family commits, and this was a great way for him to make it up. that this video got a little bit disjointed and I got a phone call there, which automatically stops my screen recording capabilities. So we're going to go back and watch Brown Mamba's attack again, what little we did see in the beginning of that video. So here we have, he drops the Coco Loon, gets down with the Archer Tower. The E-Drag starts doing that chain business as it does and creates a solid funnel on the right side of the base there. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit to get to this funnel. Queen comes down. Again, Queen works through a couple of the first defenses and does so in such a way as soon as the CC comes out, she's lured centrally, and he uses that as an opportunity to break the wall wrecker in. And I'm going to go back to regular speed here. He uses a P.E.K.K.A. and a Wizard on the top side to form a funnel, and he uses those bowlers to just wreck through everything. And you're going to see right here, this absolute sniper shot from the Warden saves his funnel and forces all those bowlers back into the base. And once those bowlers are back into the base, this is heaven for a P.E.K.K.A. Bobat attack. This is exactly what you want. You have your troops running right up the gut. Unfortunately, loses his king to the single target Inferno there, but not much he can do about it. Starts to send in the bat spells. They start working on that bomb tower. He uses the Grand Warden ability slightly prematurely, in my opinion, but he wanted to get through that last set of walls, so I totally understand. The single target Inferno goes down to the bats. We're going to speed it up a little bit here. He's got the Queen working on the Town Hall. The Queen still has her ability, which will surely help her get through things. As the Ice Golem goes down, it freezes that single target Inferno. She has to pop the ability anyway, though. Loses the bats to a Wizard Tower, but it's too little too late. I don't know if you noticed, but at the top there, he had forgotten to deploy 2 witches at the beginning of the raid, which makes this all the more impressive. He was basically functioning 24 troop space down from the beginning, and it didn't really matter. It was too little too late for the defender, and here we have another 3-star for the Neighborhod. On to the next base, here we have Qdog, and in my humble opinion, I think this was the most fun attack to watch this entire war. I watched this one live, and I was very happy with it. Qdog's a very good attacker. He's a new player here, so he's going to start with the King and Wizard to build the funnel. He drops the Balloon first to kind of lure any mines, and then he sends in the Baby Dragon right afterward. Baby Dragon's working on the funnel, sends in a Wizard Tower, not a Wizard Tower, a Wizard, excuse me, Coco Wallbreaker, or Scout Wallbreaker, I mean, and then he sends in the rest of the Wallbreakers. He used a nice free spell on that Inferno Tower in order to create a path for the Wallbreakers that they wouldn't die. And look, there's nowhere for that Queen to go but in. So that was a bit of a long time that he took there. I don't know if you noticed, but there's almost 40 seconds gone off the clock, and nothing's really started yet in terms of damage. There's only 16% on the board. So he's going to have a late attack here, but you can get away with that sometimes if you're running balloons. Typically, the mark you want to aim for with Hogs is about 1:45 at the latest if you're looking for a 3-star attack because of cleanup. And maybe 1.5 minutes for balloons, but he pushes that a lot even further than that, I believe, here. We have a great jump spell, gets open 2 compartments. She's going to target the Elixir Pump, then the Expo, then she's going to target the Eagle Artillery, which is perfect. Actually, she gets the Town Hall first. I did forget that. But after the Town Hall, it's clear she's going to target the Eagle Artillery next. It is the closest defense. Thankfully, the King did not sight her and force her astray. But now she's there, and the CC comes out, which is going to further draw her towards the core. The enemy Queen jumps right into the Poison Spell, which is perfect, and it helps out our cause. That Ice Golem goes down, which doesn't help our cause, though, because the enemy Queen's firing at her under pressure, but the Rage spell endures and takes care of business. He drops the Stone Slammer to begin the path for his balloons, takes down the Wizard Tower in one single shot. The Queen is still going. He starts to deploy some of his balloons, and there comes the first Hound. The first Hound is down, and more balloons. And there's the Warden. Notice he can save the Warden's ability for, anywhere he wants because he doesn't have to deal with the Giga Tesla, which is a great benefit if your Queen can somehow get that Town Hall down during her charge. You see that Queen, with in proximity to the Eagle Artillery and the Town Hall, that's a great value for a Queen Charge Laloon attack. And you're going to see more balloons, from the right side here. He's dropping cleanup all over the bottom in the form of minions. This was a very tight attack on time. I'm going to speed it up just slightly. As that Lava Hound comes in, it's going to pop, just cause more chaos. There comes a free spell. He still has a Warden ability. He swags the Warden ability, essentially, although not quite, and allows his balloons to kind of cover the last couple defenses. There's not much that he could have done better in this raid, except maybe deploy a little quicker, but he didn't need to, so why should he? This was a gorgeous attack, and huge shout out to Qdog for pulling this one off. We all enjoyed watching it. Next attack here is again from Kick Fritz / Big Al. So Big Al going 3 for 4 on Town Hall 12 triples in this war. Now this isn't the best base per se, but it is one of those kind of northern teaser style bases that we used to see in the form of southern teaser bases. They're kind of common. You're going to see where it's like exposed Town Hall heroes. There's going to be a whole bunch of traps, maybe an Inferno Tower next to them. And here's a good way to beat them typically. Come from the other side with a Queen Charge and just let her work. There's not enough DPS on the south side to to really threaten her at all. Just a couple of archer towers. The closest Expos are well within the base. He uses a baby dragon there and the balloon to make the nice funnel. Bomb goes off, no matter. And she continues to push towards that 9 o'clock side. Wall Wrecker comes down on a slight angle. He's going to send in the P.E.K.K.A.s. Again, you can see the funnel has clearly been defined, and there's really nowhere for those troops to go but after the Wall Wrecker, because it's going to be the next closest target. Really just Class A funneling from Big Al here. So all those troops are going to set into the base. Down comes the Rage Spell. Goodbye multi-target Inferno. He drops the Poison, perhaps a little bit prematurely considering that's a Lava Hound and it hasn't exploded yet, but it isn't going to do any real damage to his attack. Where things get a little bit hairy is that the Queen decides to diverge and the healers split. Thankfully, most of the healers decide to stay with the troops in the center, which is beneficial to his attack. That Lava Hound bursts. Any second now, you're going to see a Warden ability as that Town Hall and the pups are doing some serious damage to his troops. There is the Warden ability. He manages to get down that Town Hall. The pups are still going, though. He's got a couple of witches that are trying to deal with them. He drops a jump spell to get into that multi-target Inferno compartment. All of those skeletons are keeping it occupied. And somehow the Queen ended up banging on a wall. Huge surprise there. Not. He's got a couple of archers down, just sort of working on the cleanup. But you can see there's still a ton of troops left. It doesn't matter if there's a single target Inferno. He has witches, he has a couple of P.E.K.K.A.s, and more importantly, he has an Archer Queen that still has an ability. So this base is smacked at this point. Even though a couple of mines hit, he's going to lose both P.E.K.K.A.s here to that single target Inferno. But again, it doesn't matter because he has a Queen that has an ability left. Not to mention a King that has an ability left. And so that King pops his ability, draws the fire from the single target Inferno. The Ice Golem freezes. He pops the Queen ability, and that Inferno Tower ends up being the last thing that goes down, but it does go down. Coming in on number 12 is Choi, I believe it's pronounced. He corrected my pronunciation from last video. He's going to use a very nice Laloon attack here. When you see an exposed Queen on a Town Hall 12 that does not have a Giga Tesla, why not Suicide Heroes, right? Especially because there's a multi-target Inferno. What's a multi-target Inferno going to do to level 65 Queen? The answer to that question is absolutely nothing. So he uses his King to get down with the enemy Queen, and a good chunk into the enemy King. His Queen is going to take down the Town Hall and a whole bunch of just trash buildings down here. Oh, excuse me, the Queen is still up. But it's not going to matter. His Queen's ability will shred her and most likely the enemy King. There she is. He pops the ability. Here comes the enemy Queen. One shot, she's gone. 2 shots, 3 shots on the enemy King. He's gone, and the enemy heroes are down. And you know what he decides to do? He's like, I'm just going to Laloon this base, because he had knowledge from a previous scout that the clan castle in this base was very vulnerable to air attacks. Notice that all comes out as 5 minions. So it was a couple of minions and I believe a few ice golems. And when you see that, you may as well just send mass air, because there's not much it can do. Especially because you see a single target Inferno up there on the north end. So many balloons are just going to absolutely overwhelm it. So we're going to speed it up here just a little bit. Just so many haste spells, so many free spells. He's going to swag a couple spells here at the end, I believe, just because there's no need for them. I mean, look at that. He has 3 free spells left, and this base is smacked. Absolutely smacked. And he did it in a timely fashion as well. Nearly loses the Warden there to one of those Teslas, but it doesn't matter again. This was just an absolutely glorious attack, and Choi is just continuously one of our best attackers. And we're going to see him again in a second attack, so that's a 6-pack here. And he's switching up a little bit. This is another very enjoyable attack, and just because these are low town halls, I don't want it to take away from his grandeur. He is a fine attacker, and I've seen him do this on much better bases. In fact, in some of our earlier videos, you can see him do it on harder bases with the full-out town hall. This is going to be a Suicide Hero Electrum. He made that nice little funnel with a couple of balloons, and you're going to see quickly where this Stone Slammer is going to be coming in from, because it's pretty clear from the funnel that he's going to be sending it in towards that south end multi-target Inferno. But just look how clear this funnel is. He has 2 Electro Dragons and a second Electro Dragon, or third Electro Dragon, excuse me, in that Stone Slammer. And there's nowhere for those guys to go except for right at that Inferno. It's very clear. So he's going to pop the Queen ability any second now to deal with that air defense, and she continues to march south. She actually ends up getting the Expo as well, which is really good value. He sends in a Coco Loon first to just ensure that there will be no seeking air mines. He doesn't want them to hit his E-Drags, but no matter. Look how deep they get into the space already. 26% down,
drops the Coco Loon, it dies, and he still has a Stone Slammer that's just doing damage. And so he's going to poison the enemy queen. No CC comes out, which again was a flaw of this clan. They heavily focused on Ice Golems and CC, and so we took advantage of that by using air. A second raid spell down, and he has 3 E-Drags in the core of this base, just absolutely wreaking havoc. The Eagle Artillery is about to go down, and that Chain Lightning absolutely wrecks through the rest of the base. He just starts his deploy on the south side of the base, sending in a couple of balloons. The E-Drags ultimately do go down here. However, look how much damage they've done. That whole center of the base is gone. There's nothing left, and he still has 10 balloons he's yet to deploy, and 10 minions for cleanup, 4 haste spells, 2 free spells. I mean, this is overkill if you've ever seen overkill. This base was absolutely smacked. The only thing that honestly hurt him here was the fact that those air defenses were so far apart that his hound got way ahead of the balloons. But it didn't hurt so much because one of the hounds actually survived. And again, he still has the Warden ability left. Level 36 Warden, I mean, you don't even need it because there's no Giga Tesla. And again, just smacks this base. So shout out to Choi no Omori. I probably just butchered that pronunciation. I apologize. Next one, 14, Rose Marielle. This would be my second account. And, well, I'm going to be honest, this was an absolute mess of an attack, and I got really lucky. We're going to watch, for once, the Archer Queen being an absolute goddess. So we start with the Electro Dragon, who instantly takes a Seeking Air Mine. Rookie mistake, always drop that Coco Loon. And secondarily, the P.E.K.K.A. that was supposed to funnel the right side goes down to the Barb King. So I'm forced to use my Barb King immediately to just sort of deal with him, and he's going to just walk around too, because that's just how this attack was going. A bomb goes off and just seriously damages all the bowlers. My Wall Wrecker pops early, and I'm left with this jump spell on a few low health bowlers and maybe an Ice Golem and a P.E.K.K.A. that's about to die. The Queen is under fire from all these pups, and she's going to have to pop her ability far too prematurely. You'll see in a second. She's going to be under fire from 3 Expos. And again, you can tell immediately that for a hog attack, your objective is to get that Queen. You have to get the CC, you have to get that Queen. And it appears at this point that is royally failed. But we're going to watch an act of sheer will. This Archer Queen just decides that she will not die today. She takes down 1 Expo, 2 Expos, 3 Expos, and then for some reason takes down the enemy Queen without the enemy Queen firing a single shot back, which is nothing short of miraculous in my opinion. Typically, the Archer Queen is just, full on, hitting the wall, just not being the smartest troop on the board. We're going to have all hogs coming in from the north. The Warden goes down with them. And at this point, you can already tell this base is going to be smoked. There's 4 heal spells and a max Warden left. It's game over. As long as I place the spells correctly, it's going to be handled. And, of course, it was. So I'm going to speed it up to 4 times, and you're just going to watch these hogs waltz through this base. A couple of troops popping down for funneling, couple of wizards, P.E.K.K.A.s, excuse me, not P.E.K.K.A.s, minions, and then we have the hogs just dealing with the last couple enemy skeleton troops, and there you have it. That's another 3-star. That last back-end builder hut almost hurt me, but not so much. And so that is the last, that would be the last 12v12 attack from this war. I'd like to show one 11v11 attack from Moonbeast. Moonbeast being the second account from our co-leader Moon Cricket. And again, this isn't a particularly good base, but I'd just like to showcase an example of Queen Charge Hogs. I'm speeding it up to 4 times. You can see how this works out very perfectly. The funnel is very well constructed. There's nowhere for the Queen to go but into that base, and she gets a lot of damage for it, taking down a ton of buildings, and then he actually uses the King with a couple of wall breakers up there up top to get even more damage. And then once that's happening, I mean, this is a premature base, and so these Hogs are just going to steamroll it. But that was a very nice use of that King to break in up top to get the little bit of extra percentage, and the Queen Charge was just beautiful. So shout out to Moon there. We're not even going to watch the rest of this because this was just absolute overkill on a premature base. So there you have it for today. I tried a new way of recording, so I apologize if there's any background noise. We're about to kick it off on CWL, and I'm sure you'll be hearing more from me about that. So far, we are 1 of 3 on triples. We have Reese with a 78% and Kick Fritz with an 85, and we have Big Al with 1 triple, which I'm sure you'll get to see at some point. So once again, this is Saber from the Neighborhod signing off for the evening. We are the Neighborhod, hashtag 8YOP2UUJ. Feel free to check us out on Discord, and if you enjoy this kind of content that I'm making, feel free to like and subscribe. We're looking to do a few more teaching style videos for Clash of Clans. Thanks again, and have a great day.